Hey, this is Cameron with iPropertyManagement.com, and today I'm going to do a quick walkthrough and review of Zumper's tenant screening services. So you may have heard Zumper for their rental listing service, and tenant screening is only a small part of what they do. So we'll notice first off that there's nothing really on their site about tenant screening. There's a couple of quick mentions, and they don't even say the price. It's $30 for a screening, but we will get to that in a little bit. So first of all, you'll want to come here, and I'm already logged in, but you can click sign up here, and that's how you'll create your landlord account. And the easiest way that I've noticed to start a new property for screening is to come down to the footer and click tenant screening. And then after you click on that, you're going to be taken here, and it's a nice little prompt here where you can add in the address of the property you're screening for. After you put in the street address, you're taken here, and you can decide whether you want to email an invitation link or you're just going to copy the link and send it to someone. So then after your applicant either clicks that link or clicks the link in the email, they're taken here where they can start to apply. But before we go any further, I do want to talk about the landlord setup process. So many tenant screening services will have landlords do a little bit of a verification process to confirm who they are before they're allowed to do any tenant screening. Zumper's process for this is 5 to 10 times longer than any other process I've ever seen. It was like a 20-step process, 20 different screens you had to go through. Two different times you had to go to your phone to confirm an SMS, and then another time you had to take pictures of your driver's license front and back, and then you had to take selfies to confirm that your picture matched the driver's license. Having done reviews from many other services, it just seemed a lot more cumbersome than pretty much every other process out there. So that being said, if once you get through that process, um, and you've sent out your application, then your applicant will see this page and can click the apply now. Then they are taken to this page where they can create an account. Next, they'll accept the terms and conditions, and then you have to re-enter your password. Now we're taken to this page, and you'll notice some of the verbiage here is a little strange. It's talking about create your documents and create your credit report. Now, as an applicant, I would be thinking, hey, I'm not going to be the one creating my credit report. That's going to be pulled from TransUnion. So we just kind of have to get past that strange phrasing there. We'll hit continue. First of all, it's a pretty standard identity verification process here. So we'll go ahead and fill this out. Now that portion of the application was for requesting a credit report. So after filling out that page, they will then be taken to a checkout page to pay for it. And then after they will come here to the rental application portion and they can click to create that. Now, unfortunately, this applicant has already filled out this information, so it's a little tedious that it needs to be filled out again, but we will go ahead and fill this out and move to the next page. Now we will get into current and past housing information. They can select if they rented or owned, put in their previous residence, reasons for leaving. Now this is excellent here where we can have the landlord's name and the landlord's phone number so that you as the landlord can immediately have the contact information to put together to verify all the rental history information on your own. We'll go ahead and we'll fill out this page. Next, the application will gather employment history. And once again, we'll see it's got manager's name and phone number so that you can begin to reach out and verify all the information on this page. The next page will ask for personal references and emergency contacts. Next, we come to this additional information page and we see one of my favorite pages I have ever seen in a tenant screen application. This gives a chance for your applicants to get ahead of any negative marks on their application and be able to explain why something happened. For example, have you ever been evicted? If the applicant selects yes, they can put an answer in here. And if there's a lot of landlords that if they see an eviction, they may just turn away the application right away. However, if they are able to explain in here a really, really good reason and you're satisfied that it was a one-off and it wouldn't happen again, then you could definitely keep that applicant in the mix. And do you smoke, file for bankruptcy? All a really good opportunity for your applicants to be able to answer these questions head on at first. So now your applicant can come in here and they can put in any bank account information that they would like. I was a little confused by this step because the reports themselves don't really have any financial information or verification, so I'm not positive why this is here. And moving on to the next step, we get another kind of confusing page here about outstanding loans. So typically, at least the first time when I was filling this out, I was thinking, won't my credit report already tell them all my trade lines? In other words, all my outstanding loans and who I owe them to and what I am and how much I owe each month. So I'm not really sure why we have to add this, and it's kind of a tedious step because I don't know my creditor name, creditor address, or the exact monthly payment right off the top of my head. So there are things that I have to look up. But then down here, we also get the opportunity to add a vehicle. Okay, and then this is actually the last step in the process. And then after this, it's just a quick verification, and then the application will be sent in to you. Next, I want to show you what their actual screening reports look like. And as I mentioned, they don't really talk about their screening reports on their website much. So here's where we can get a chance to see what it is they're actually going to give us on the report. So we'll see, first of all, we start with a credit report, and we get this standard Social Security verification that it's a real Social Security number and it's matched to this person's identity. And I should mention that this is actually a real report that we paid to have pulled, and then we just took screenshots of it so that we could actually redact any private information. So then we'll go down and we'll see that we have 3 addresses here so that you can begin to match it up to what they put on the application to see if it, in order to verify it yourself. Their employment information here. Now we'll come down here and we'll begin to see the profile summary for their trade lines. In other words, who does this person owe money to? And my favorite part of these summaries is always this total line and then looking at the payment. So looking here, you'd be able to see how much total debt payments your applicant is paying each month. And with that figure, you're able to figure out an accurate debt to income ratio, which is so much better than a rent to income ratio. We'll see here that we get a resident score, but that we don't actually get a credit score. So this number is developed by TransUnion, and it's meant to be on the same scale as a credit score. A 791 is an excellent score, but it's designed to only take into account factors that matter for a renter. So if you're able to get past the fact that it's not a credit score, then you can realize this is actually a more accurate number than a credit score would actually be. Another summary of our trade lines. We'll scroll down here where you can actually click through and see a summary of each of the individual trade lines. For example, here's a mortgage payment. We can see how much this person is paying and see that everything has been paid on time. Then we'll scroll down and we get criminal, sex offender, most wanted, and the OFAC. We can see this person has none of those. And then we get an eviction report. Overall, here are my thoughts about Zumper. They're not a service that I would go out of my way to use. Because they can be a little complicated if you just want to go to their website and only use their tenant screening service. However, if you do like them for their rental listing service as well, then it kind of makes sense to just integrate the tenant screening as well, because their screening service is good enough. And the process is pretty decent for landlords and applicants alike. I showed you a few of the steps where the landlords do have to go through quite a big verification process, but that's only one time. There's a few little hiccups in the application itself that I wasn't a big fan of, where the applicant could be a little confused. But overall, you'll see that the reports look pretty standard. They're pretty similar to most other tenant screening services, and with the price being what it is, it also can make sense for landlords who want to entice a lot of applicants to be able to apply to them. So overall, pretty good service. I would still probably put Apartments.com with a similar service ahead of Zumper, but they can both be very effective services. That concludes my review of Zumper. Thanks for listening and have a great day.